So first off, I just wanted to thank each and every one of you for waiting in line. I know San Diego Comic-Con's crazy. Halo fans are the best. Thank you for being patient. Thanks for joining us here today. And real quick, I'm just going to introduce everybody, and we're going to kind of kick things into high gear. My name is David Ellis. I'm a designer here at 343 Industries, working on Spartan Ops, and starting with Kiki Wolfkill, who's executive producer on Halo 4.
Hey guys.
And next to her is Mr. Josh Holmes, who's the franchise creative director at 343. And working my way down the line is a man who needs no introduction, but I still insist on doing it every time, Mr. Frank O'Connor, franchise development director. And I think joining us maybe on the panel for the first time is Kevin Franklin, who's the lead designer on War Games on the Infinity multiplayer. And rounding things out is lead designer on Spartan Ops, Mr. Chris Haluke. So starting this panel out today, we actually want to share something very special for you. We have a trailer that's going to be premiering on July 27th in movie theaters all around the country. And you know, Comic-Con's all about special reveals, and we want to share it for this audience for the first time. Before we kick it off, I just want to give you a heads up that this is trailers designed for kind of everyone, so it's more of a mainstream audience, but it's got some really cool footage in there and stuff no one outside of our studio has ever seen before. So I'm just going to cue it up and we'll watch that video real quick.
Product not yet rated.
Creating Halo 4, in many ways, is a little like making a movie.
Heads up, Chief. Covenant Sword is inbound.
There are a lot of the same components, a lot of the same technology, a lot of the same kinds of artists and musicians and designers. On Halo 4, a significant portion of the game studio's staff have movie backgrounds, skills and talent they've honed and polished in Hollywood on major theatrical productions and blockbuster movies.
001, take one.
This game has motion capture specialists, people who capture fluid animation and occasionally alien movements. Halo has a sweeping, stirring, cinematic score that pulls audiences into the emotion and action on that screen. They record that soundtrack with a 60-piece orchestra at Abbey Road Studios, the recording venue for Star Wars, Prometheus, and the Avengers. Halo 4 has artists whose sole job is to create beautiful, compelling environments, worlds that, like the matte paintings from the golden age of cinema, make you feel like you've entered another world. Halo has prop builders and set designers, people whose mission is to craft incredible weapons and build legendary vehicles. So yes, in some ways, making a video game is a little like making a movie. But while a movie, like a game, is a collaborative process with millions of moving parts, a movie is a singular vision, experienced in the same way every time. It's a journey that the director takes you on. But in Halo 4, you're the director. You are the star. We'll give you the tools to blaze a new trail and allow you to experience and inhabit worlds and heroes in a way a movie never can. It's your journey. You control your own destiny, and there's no magic quite like it. Halo 4, November 6, 2012.
So I hope you guys enjoyed that real quick. The voice you may have recognized who was doing the narration on that was a gentleman named Mr. Billy West. You may remember from Ren and Stimpy, tons of other stuff. That's go.
Zap Brannigan.
Yeah. So hope you enjoyed that. We actually want to show another video real quick, sort of teasing myself here. We debuted this at E3 this year as a live action, first in our series of live action ads we're going to be promoting for Halo 4. It was called The Commissioning. And it introduced the UNSC Infinity and actually showed a little bit of that, showed the Infinity actually being pulled within the confines of Requiem. Which is a planet you're going to be visiting in Halo 4. This is a special extended cut of that trailer, and we wanted to share it with you guys here today. So I'm just going to cue that up and play it, and then we'll kick off the rest of the panel.
It's been 4 years since the end of the war, and today we send forth a vessel designed for battle, but now repurposed for peace. Home to 17,000 of our best, our brightest. This is the culmination of human achievement. For the first time in a generation, we commission a UNSC starship meant not to wage war, but to peacefully advance the cause of mankind through the discovery of new worlds.
So one of the reasons we wanted to show that video was, of course, to showcase the UNSC Infinity, which plays a huge role in all of Halo 4, whether it's the campaign or the Infinity multiplayer experience, both war games and Spartan Ops. But another reason was also to showcase Requiem itself, which plays a huge role in the Halo campaign. And so I just want to have Kiki talk a little bit about what the process was like of creating this whole new environment, this world for the Master Chief and other folks to explore.
Yeah, I mean, so it was really important for us to be able to create a setting that was, A, worthy of the return of Master Chief, but also worthy of really the scale of story that we wanted to tell and the types of actions and adventures that we wanted the Chief to be able to go on. Sci-fi is part of our DNA, and obviously one of the beauties of sci-fi is it lets us build and explore really like sort of fantastic and mysterious places, and with that be able to take players on that same sort of journey. And so we really looked at how do we get a lot of variety out of the environment, how do we make it both awe-inspiring but also threatening. I think there are parts of it that are very dynamic and very adaptable. But really, how do we create a world that you want to explore and that scares you a little bit, but also really creates this sense of wonder? Requiem, as we've said, is a forerunner shield world. It's been uninhabited for millennia, and it's kind of been breached, right? And so I think there's a lot of the unexpected that the Chief is going to encounter there, and it leaves the door open for us to do a lot of really interesting things.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned the threats, be threatened by the Requiem itself. I think this year at E3 we were able to premiere and show off our all-new enemy class, Prometheans. And so we just want to have Josh and Frank talk a little bit about bringing this enemy class to life. It's really the first all-new enemy class in quite a long time for the Halo franchise. And it's been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and a lot of hours of work by our very talented team at 343 to bring these characters to life in what you saw at E3 this year. So, I mean, the Prometheans, bringing them to life, what was that like, Josh?
I mean, it was daunting. I mean, that was one of the things that when we started on the project, as a team, we all agreed we've been fighting the Covenant for a decade, and we want to introduce a new threat and introduce a threat that is different from the Covenant, but equally as challenging and engaging. And so we kind of set on this journey of exploring different mechanics, how, coming up with the core of what these enemies would be from a gameplay standpoint, which was a lot of figuring out how to make them really collaborative and really dynamic as an enemy class, so that when you're facing one, it sort of presents a certain challenge, and then as you layer in other elements of that class, that challenge grows and changes. But in addition to just kind of the gameplay aspects of that, there was a lot of I think consternation and just exploration that went on as far as the aesthetic design of it. And I mean, I can say like the night that you see in the footage that we showed today is like the fifth or sixth iteration of the night, where we just basically, at least, where we would go down a path and we would explore and we would hone and refine, and then we'd say, no, it's not good enough. Let's start again. And that was really painful for the team because we invested a ton of effort and time into each one of those iterations. But the end result, I think we're all very, very happy with, and it was worth all of that pain.
We spent a lot of time making sure you could headshot the knight.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. It seems like such a simple thing, but that was a huge part. I mean, just from a kind of gameplay standpoint, you really need to be able to pick out the head of the enemy and know what you're shooting at, and that became a real challenge for us with some of the designs that we pursued. And so, as a team, that was something that we kind of just continued to struggle with and iterate on until we got something that we were really happy with.
Yeah, and we were working simultaneously with Greg Bear and with the rest of the team on building a real Forerunner history and a really sort of practical exploration of what the Forerunner armed forces, as it were like. And they were, the Foreigners, of course, were as we left them before the Halo array fired, fighting the Flood. And so that's what their materials and their tools and their weapons were designed to combat, which is why, for example, the scatter shot literally incinerates foes and opponents rather than just kills them. It has to destroy all the biological mass so the Flood can't resurrect. I will point out the Flood is not in this game, but a lot of the anti-Flood mechanisms and
Scattered applause.
I liked fighting the Flood. You guys are jerks. So everything is sort of really well thought out and really deeply thought out. And of course, we're collaborating with Greg to build. We had to sort of gradually layer on the descriptions of what the Prometheans and what their sort of a nobility and power and terror were like as we build the novels. And that's actually one of the reasons that the final Forerunner novel comes out in January, because it's lousy with spoilers for this game. So.
For everyone who joined us at the narrative panel earlier this week, we introduced and showed off the first debut trailer for Halo 4 Forward Unto Dawn, which is our live-action series premiering later this year. One of the main characters that we're focusing on that story is a gentleman named Mr. Thomas Lasky. And he meets the chief, and in the story of that Forward Unto Dawn series talks a lot about their relationship. And Thomas Lasky also plays an important role in Halo 4's main campaign. And for the first time after 30 years, they come face to face again. And I'm wondering if some of the panelists want to talk a little bit about this character and the role that he plays in the campaign.
Yeah, Thomas Lasky is, as somebody figured out from his epaulets, is a commander on the Starship Infinity. He serves under Captain Del Rio, and they have a really good professional relationship that's going to come under some strain, as you may have saw in a leaked video from yesterday. But it's having kind of human interplay is really important, and Lasky isn't going to be sort of stalking the chief, as it were. He's going to respect the chief and give him a little bit of distance, but has obviously been a huge inspiration in his life, as you'll see in some of the clips from Forward Unto Dawn. And making all the points of the universe actually connect in meaningful ways, it has been a really important aspect of building this game for us, and a really big challenge, like 3 years of like matrixing fiction and iterating and editing and making it all work.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because Lasky plays a really important role in the campaign, but I think he's explored more deeply in Forward Unto Dawn, and then post-campaign within the Spartan Ops series, the Infinity series that we're going to be launching with the game. And so, over the course of the season of that, you get to really know Lasky, and he is a central character on the ship. And he plays. I don't want to give away too much.
No.
I'm like dancing around.
I was about to shut your mic
spoilers.
off, Josh. I got to be honest with you.
Reining myself back in. But yeah, I mean, he is definitely a huge part of that series, and he's someone that, for me, and I played a part in creating him as a character along with everybody else on the team. He's someone who I've come to care about a lot over time, and that's something that I think is pretty cool.
And of course, Commander Lasky is not alone on board the UNSC Infinity. It brings a lot of other people and a lot of other items that will play a big role in the campaign. You saw probably some sneak peeks if you were paying very close attention to the commissioning or the cinema trailer we showed earlier today. The Infinity plays a very important role in the campaign. It also, of course, like I said earlier, plays the central setting for both our war games and Spartan Ops and the Infinity multiplayer experience. Wondering if we could talk a little bit about what our thought process of kind of contextualizing multiplayer for the first time in Halo.
Yeah, I mean, we've spoken a lot about what story means to us as a studio. We really believe strongly in the power of story, and one of the decisions that we made really early on was this idea of connecting everything through story and making sure that everything matters. And so when we approached Halo 4, that was a philosophy that we brought to both the campaign and the multiplayer experience, and really wanting to connect the two of those through story and giving you kind of a narrative context for everything that you're doing within the multiplayer experience for the very first time. And so the Infinity, which is a ship that's introduced within the campaign experience, is something that goes on to be the focal point of this new multiplayer experience, Infinity Multiplayer, and is home to both War Games, which is the competitive experience, as well as Spartan Ops, which is this episodic cooperative experience that we're introducing, which is kind of this interesting back and forth between this weekly series that comes out and tells the story of the Infinity and the story of these characters like Lasky on board the ship, as well as delivering episodic gameplay.
So I think this is a good time to kind of kick us into War Games specifically. I'm going to reintroduce you once again to Kevin Franklin, who's our lead designer in War Games. And Kevin, I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about what our thought process was kind of bringing War Games into Halo 4 and kind of putting our own spin and mark on the competitive multiplayer aspect of Halo.
Definitely. Well, for us as designers, like when we got the Infinity, we were just amazed at it. Like the potential of 300 to 500 new Spartans aboard a huge new warship to hold Spartan Ops and War Games. It excited us beyond belief. And when we started getting into the Spartan 4 program, that's really what set the tone for multiplayer. We decided, like, we have Spartan 4s, they're all new armor, all new abilities, and the players can customize their loadouts now. And we really had to go back to the core of multiplayer. And this is where we analyzed it frame by frame, looked at the scripts line by line, and decided how do we reinvent this classic experience, that core loop of spawning, killing, owning in multiplayer, and make it even better. And then when we got into customization and loadouts, and we added big new features like scoring and ordnance, I mean, we had put so much thought and detail into creating our multiplayer experience before we even thought about, the game modes or where we are now. And it's just been an incredible adventure. So to the customization point, now you've got full loadouts you can customize. You can choose your weapons, armor abilities, armor mods, and it's only half the playstyle that you bring into the battlefield, though, because in Infinity Slayer, especially as we found early in the year, and if you've gotten a chance to play our E3 build or the build we have on the floor today, the combos and creating your own gameplay style on the fly to deal with whatever your opponents are bringing up to you and throw it right back in their face, I mean, it's incredibly fun.
Yeah, I think it goes without saying in Halo 4, I mean, customization is a big part of it. and obviously past Halo games have had that as well, but without a doubt we have probably the biggest selection of items that you can customize and suit your play style in Halo, in Halo 4. Another element to that we talked about a little bit earlier this year when we announced the limited edition of Halo 4 is that you're going to get early access to something we called specializations. At that time, we weren't quite ready to spill the beans on what that actually meant. So there's been a little confusion online about what specializations are. So I think, Josh, if you want to kind of explain what specializations are and how they kind of tie into the progression and leveling system within Halo 4.
Yeah, I mean, first I'll kind of take a step back and say from a philosophical standpoint for progression and customization, we kind of took an almost RPG approach to the design of the all-up multiplayer experience. We kind of recognized that different players have different play styles, and we wanted to allow players to customize their individual Spartans to suit their personal play style. And so everything that you're doing across both the War Games experience and the Spartan Ops experience is all feeding into this one central character that is your Spartan. And you're able to select, throughout your loadout, you're able to kind of build all the different components of that, whether it's your primary and secondary weapon, your unique abilities, as well as armor mods that sort of allow you to optimize your Spartan for your particular play style. So the way that specializations work is you get to the max level cap within your Spartan's progression, and then at that point you're able to re-enlist within one of these specialist branches within the UNSC, and each of these branches is kind of geared towards what we consider a particular play style. So whether you're someone who really likes to be a sniper on the battlefield, someone who really likes to be more of a vehicle-focused driver on the battlefield, there are specializations for your play style. And when you re-enlist, you're going through essentially like a 10-level progression that's at the higher end of the progression curve. And as you go through that, you're unlocking exclusive emblems, you're unlocking exclusive armor skin, an exclusive weapon skin, and then an exclusive armor mod that allows you to, again, tailor your Spartan to your specific play style. And so this is basically in service of giving you something to work towards once you've gone through that initial curve of the progression, and give you those kind of long-term goals that you can work towards across both of the modes, whether you're more of a competitive player or a cooperative player.
And I think the reason we're introducing specializations is actually twofold. We obviously want to have reward people who put the time and effort in the game, but we also, for those who picked up the limited edition, we want to give you early access to it. But you're still going to have to put in the hours. You don't immediately get access to those loads. You're still going to have to get up to max level before you can actually take advantage of that. And the other, of course, is that Halo is a living product. When we release it, that's not the final step. In some ways, it's the first. I mean, obviously with Spartan Ops, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later, we hold it very dear that the Halo fans out there, the ones who stick with us and keep playing the game, is we're going to do our best to support this game and really take care of it and take feedback from the community. And specializations is part of that, so that we can reward you to continually better your Spartan 4 throughout the process. We talked a little bit about game modes earlier. Kevin, you mentioned Infinity Slayer, and I know we've talked about Regicide. These are two brand new modes we're introducing in Halo 4. I think it's important to point out that we actually have some returning modes, classic modes, if you will, to Halo 4, but we couldn't put the Halo 4 stamp on it unless we made some alterations to that. So I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about the process of actually bringing those modes back in addition to the new ones that we're introducing.
Oh, definitely. Well, with Infinity Slayer, it's the classic Team Slayer experience, but it's completely reimagined for Halo 4. I mean, the gameplay and features are so different, but when we got to Regicide, if you have a chance to play that yet, there's a big role player in the game, the King. So in that mode, the player in first is King, and he's got a big bounty on his head. Everyone's out to get him, and everyone knows where he is at all times. So it's this incredible experience being the King when the dynamic music hits in. And we wanted to apply that learning to our other game modes. So when we got to Oddball and Capture the Flag, we really wanted to make those experiences of being the flag carrier a badass. It's like when you have that Oddball, we wanted you to feel super powerful. So we're showing something here for the very first time that I think is going to very quickly illustrate. David, cue it up here.
So just real quick, we're not able to go into total detail on everything we're doing with Capture the Flag and Oddball today, but we did want to make one announcement here today. For the first time, we're big fans of assassinations. enjoyed them in Halo Reach. We're bringing them back in Halo 4. And for the first time, we're actually going to have mode-specific assassinations. And we have 2 of those we wanted to share with you today to kind of give you a hint. And if you watch very closely, I have a feeling you're going to pick up some hints for what we have planned with Capture Flag and Oddball.
We're so excited to show this too. It's a little bit ridiculous.
I gotta be honest, I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. Kevin and I put that together Tuesday night after our video team had already come down, so we were really worried because they set a pretty high bar of quality at our studio. So like I said, if you watch that video closely, you probably picked up some tidbits for what I have planned, and we're certainly going to be talking about that as we move towards the launch of Halo 4 later this year. I think we wanted to pivot real quick, and I'm spoiling myself by switching the slide, to talk a little bit about Spartan Ops, which is our ongoing episodic cooperative campaign that we're introducing. It's a brand new feature within Halo 4. It's never been a part of the Halo franchise before. I think at this point, I just want to bring it over to Chris Haluke real quick and have him talk a little bit about kind of what Spartan Ops is and kind of what our thought process were during the creative period of actually bringing Spartan Ops to life.
Yeah, for sure. But I first have to say that Frank called it. That last video would get some applause. So thank you for coming through on that. So Spartan Ops, as everybody's kind of talked about today, is our episodic co-op campaign. Now, each week, we're really excited to try to do something where we're bringing true innovation to Halo 4 by delivering episodic content. So what we're going to do is each week, you're going to get an episode of a high-quality CG series that tells the story about life on the Infinity and beyond. And we've seen some of the characters, and we've started to allude to how this connects with campaign. Now, with that CG series, each week you'll get 5 chapters, which are playable. So you get 5 missions each episode. So what we have today at the show floor, which if you've had an opportunity to play, is an example of that. It's also on the floor tomorrow, so please do come by, get a glimpse of what there is. But what we really want to do is give players a chance to use the sandbox, to use the Halo sandbox that you guys all know, love, and truly try something innovative in the sense that we're bringing you guys a story-driven co-op campaign that is aside from the single-player campaign. It's told 6 months after the events of the single-player campaign. And we want to really try to bring as much value as we can to Halo 4. We want to draw players in by also kind of connecting with war games in the sense that the player progression system is persistent across both modes. So when you enlist your Spartan, you'll actually be able to use that Spartan, your loadouts, and everything that goes along with that in both War Games and Spartan Ops. So think of the possibilities there. If you aren't usually somebody that's going to try to play War Games, you have an opportunity to truly kind of ease your way in with Spartan Ops, and then you can roll into War Games feeling confident about your abilities, your loadouts, and you always have them available to you. And vice versa, if you're a War Games player, well, you can easily kind of make that entry into Spartan Ops. The missions that we're going to be providing have a wide range of objectives, of types. We're really trying to pay homage to other exciting kind of elements of the single player that we love, as well as multiplayer. I don't know if anybody...
I agree with everything you just said.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, David knows.
Yes.
Like, David knows firsthand, as you know, we work together each and every day, that what we're trying to do is something that's never really been done before, and just the opportunity to do this on a product like Halo 4 has been incredible for us, and the learning that we've come across in the past few years has been absolutely stunning from where it was to where it is now.
I think, like, for us, this was kind of that crazy endeavor, you know, when we started talking about it, we're like, okay, we want to tell an amazing story in the campaign, but then beyond that, we want to continue that story, and we want to allow players for the first time to really have the ability to impact the story through multiplayer and deliver content on an ongoing basis across this entire season of play. And when we started talking about that, the first reaction was like, okay, you guys are fucking crazy. How are we going to do that? And so we kind of worked through it as a team, and kind of, Chris and David and the rest of the Spartan Ops team have been living and breathing this for months and months. And it's just been an incredible endeavor, planning out that story, planning out all of the connections between the weekly series and each of the missions that come out each week to make it really feel like you as a player have a direct impact on that story and that you're part of it. And that's been the goal. Because when you look at kind of the people who love Halo, we kind of break down into people who love campaign, people who love multiplayer, and we wanted to create that experience that could kind of bring those two groups together and create that kind of that connection point. So
I think another good point is how our narrative team, which you heard from some of them earlier in the week, how we've actually had like such a relationship and such kind of a bond and that growing relationship in the way that we work together to really try to make a story-driven co-op episodic adventure. It's literally like I can think of from when I joined to where we are now, but the way that we've been able to tie story and the way that we've been able to tell that with a mode that's basically built for 4 players, it's been absolutely astonishing.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the core kind of thesis for everything in the Infinity multiplayer experience is that everything you do matters. All those hours you're playing in war games, all those hours you're spending in Spartan Ops, you're actually going to have an effect on the future of the Halo universe. And personally, I think that's pretty cool. We talked about the linear CG series earlier, and we have something we want to show real quick from that. It's we have some of the characters that you're actually going to be introduced to. Of course, Thomas Lasky, as Frank mentioned, is going to play a role in it. You're sort of introduced to him in Halo 4 Forward Unto Dawn. His story is continued in the Halo 4 main campaign, and it'll pick up again in Spartan Ops. Another character you're actually going to be introduced is the head of the Spartan 4 program on the Infinity. Her name's Commander Palmer. We have a couple of CG render turnarounds, kind of show you what the character is going to look like and kind of give you a sense of the quality bar we have planned for the CG series that's launching with Spartan Ops.
Yeah, I mean, I would just jump in before we show that and just say, when I was talking about the ambition of the endeavor that we took on, part of that is we're still in production on this CG series, and we will be in production up until the day that we launch. We'll be releasing new episodes throughout the series, and it really is kind of similar to the way that you'd approach a TV series, where we're continuing to produce those episodes right up until the day that they air. So what we're going to show you is literally turnarounds of the characters, but they'll give you an idea of the quality of the CG that you can expect, and then of course as we get closer to launch, you'll actually start to see some of those scenes in action.
We're also trying to avoid spoilers here
Yeah,
today a little
true.
bit.
I would make one note about Lasky. He's a man of many hairdos. You'll just notice across different executions, he likes to change up his hair a bit.
That was my idea.
All right, so we're going to show
Living
that real quick.
vicariously.
I'll take what I can get.
All right, so we're going to show this with you real quick. So as Josh said, we're obviously going to be talking more about the linear CG series as we get closer to launch. One of the things I did want to talk about today that I don't think we have before, we talked about at E3 the fact that Spartan Ops was going to be months of content. We actually wanted to make the official announcement that this season of Spartan Ops is going to take place over 10 weeks. So you're going to have 10 weeks of content starting on November 6th when we launch Halo 4. And that's going to include, of course, all the CG episodes that release weekly, but also a total of 50 missions of Spartan Ops that's coming as part of Halo 4.
That's a lot, believe me. That
Yeah,
is a lot. And
we're going back to the office this week
Yeah.
and let's keep working.
we're going
on it.
straight from here to the office, so I hope you guys know.
It was definitely a project that you started, and you're totally excited. It's such a cool idea, and then you're like, Jesus Christ, I can't believe how much work this is going to be. Like, it's like when you start painting a room, and then you're like, oh man, what did we just commit to?
Then you get a guy to come and do it.
Yeah, that didn't work.
But before we kind of break off from Spartan Ops, so we actually want to show you some all brand new footage here today. Chris talked about earlier about the different environments and places that you're actually going to be exploring on Requiem, that, of course, 6 months after the main campaign, to give you a hint of the different places and environments that you're going to be witnessing as you take part in the Spartan Ops campaign. So we've talked about the campaign, we've talked about war games. We just showed you and talked a little bit about Spartan Ops. We have something else we want to share with everyone today, a very special surprise that I don't think anyone in this room has seen in person quite yet. So I think I'm just going to hand it over to Kiki, and I guess we'll go ahead and make the announcement.
So the few of you in the room who have access to the World Wide Web may have seen some of this earlier this week. So this is the new limited edition Halo 4 console. Oh, what was that? Some of the notable pieces is Tajin, our audio director, made custom sounds. Let's see if I can do a better job here. I didn't do a very good job there. But just to give you guys a little bit of an idea around some of the inspiration. Oh, there it is. We have some images of it too to show. You know, we really wanted to do something special for this console. We took a lot of Forerunner visual design and really specifically some Forerunner tech that's associated with the UNSC Infinity. So the blue LEDs, the translucency of the case, a lot of the design shapes and elements really draw from some things that you're going to learn in a little more detail about with the Infinity. But sort of this hybrid of sort of future UNSC technology and Forerunner technology combined.
I got to be honest, this is the first time I've seen it in person. I'm just staring at it too. It's actually what Kiki means by translucent, and you might not be able to see it on the camera in the picture, but it's actually, the sides are actually see-through.
Is there a lens flare on it?
Yeah.
There could be.
Yeah,
We get some spotlights.
Photoshop tech.
Josh is also holding up, and you see it in the picture.
I am.
Up there.
There's no connection.
This is these are the controllers that come with it. And in addition to the controllers that come with the system, we also have a limited edition controller. If we go back to the slide and check that out real quick.
We have this special edition there. That's a special UNSC design, again with the same sort of gray translucent case and then some of that foil lettering. Anyway, we're really excited about the visual design for both of them. A ton of work went into this with Tajin, our audio director, and also Kenneth Scott, our art director. And it was a pretty amazing collaboration with the hardware team. So we're very excited about it.
Yep. And it comes with 2 controllers, we should know.
And I believe, Frank, you might have something as well that you
Oh yeah,
want to share?
we worked with our partners at Triton on matching 7.1 headphones, wireless of course. There's going to be a wired version, this UNSC theme that kind of matches the controller you see up there right now, and obviously there's headphones. Are you guys familiar with the movie Empire Strikes Back?
This is awesome, by the way.
This is going
You
to
can
be
do
good.
it this way, or you can do it Bestman style. Empire's coming for some inspections. I think everything's going to be okay.
So I think at this point we kind of want to open it up for some questions, but real quick as we're opening up Q&A.
Easy. I don't think they want to ask any
Um,
questions, Dave. I think we're good.
It's gonna be, I think we're good on questions, but before we kick off the questions, I did want to bring up some special guests. We have some friends of ours from the 405th, which as you might know is a Halo group that specializes in creating custom Spartan armor and other Halo things. So we just want to bring them up and actually join us up on stage during the Q&A. So if you want to come on up. I don't think that armor's regulation.
I actually thought that was you earlier, Dave. I'm totally surprised to see you both in the same room.
Wow. Nice.
Wow, look at the haunted helmet.
Oh, wait, there's more.
So just for the record, they're going to protect us from any bad or tough questions.
Yes.
So just watch out if you're in line for Q&A. So while we're getting situated up here, I think we're going to go ahead and take the first question right here, and we'll just get right into it.
Hang on, here comes
Hang
the
on.
big
Comes
guns.
George.
Oh, impressive.
That's pretty awesome.
I don't know if he has enough room to turn around. He made it, just barely.
I'm scared.
Do you want to hold it up? All right, I won't ask him to hold it up too much longer. That has to be heavy. So, first question.
All right. Obviously, there's a big legacy to live up to, and this is the first non-Bungie game. I'm just wondering, are you nervous?
Excited?
Naked
No.
terror.
Yeah. I mean, Frank talked about a little bit about, we put a video out after E3. I mean, that was really, in a lot of ways, the first time we shown the breadth of Halo 4. And I think quite honestly, we were all terrified for E3.
We're used to living in terror.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It is our way.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, just to
Yeah.
follow up on that, I think speaking
To give you a
to
real
give you a little
answer.
bit more of an answer to your question. I think on behalf of the whole team, when we went to E3, this was the first time that we showed a great deal of the game, and the team was, I think the team was legitimately kind of antsy to see how people would react to that, and we were overjoyed with the reaction that we received from the fans, and it was great to be able to finally show things to people. And up until the day that we release, we're just going to continue to grind and try to make this the best game that we can possibly make it. And that's all that we can do. So we just focus on that.
I would say coming out of E3 and feeling really good about the result doesn't actually make us feel any less terror because now it's really about delivering on,
That's right.
on that, right? So in some ways it's more pressure, but it's a really good pressure for the team.
We're continually encouraged, I would say, as well, by when everybody plays it, when we see you guys, the excitement that you guys show, and just kind of the way that you've been able to embrace it. I think that gives us and the team a lot of motivation to continue to work as hard as we have.
Thanks for your
Thank
question.
you.
Okay, of course, we're all fans here. I cannot wait for Halo 4. As a matter of fact, a couple years ago when you guys announced at E3 the anniversary and Halo 4, I dropped everything, ran to GameStop, and put everything on reserve. So Halo 4 for me has been on reserve since I reserved anniversary.
Thank you so much.
I'm also a high school resource special ed teacher, and my kids cannot wait for the days that we have Halo days. And if you've never seen a cheerleader school people and other kids in Halo, it's the best thing to see.
I think she's here and she made some Spartan.
Again, you guys have released not legendary, the limited edition. And being on a teacher salary, I would love to have the Xbox to replace my first gen, but with a baby coming in September and on a teacher salary, I guess I'm going to put that off for a little bit. But with everything else that you guys have going, we love the classic maps. Are there any classic maps that you're going to bring in playable for multiplayer in Halo 4?
It's a possibility.
There's a definite possibility that there's at least one.
But I think it's worth. So I think everyone spoke out and they went,
Somebody said prisoner. We'll go back through that one.
I do think it's important to point out that the vast majority of everything we're building from the ground up for Halo 4 is we want to make a new experience.
Yeah.
And we want you to be constantly surprised when you get the game on November 6th, and we want it to be something new.
I think, we showed at the Rooster Teeth Expo that we're bringing back Forge, so there's definitely the possibility that there's going to be a lot of classic remakes through Forge. So you'll definitely be able to play some of those classics again.
Perfect. Again, thank you so much. It's going to be our first child, and it's a boy, so I can't wait to get him going on Halo. So thank you so much.
Good man.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Congratulations, by the way.
Hello. Last year I came here and I asked a question at the Q&A too, and then afterwards went to the Tin Fin and I saw Frank O'Connor at
I was
at the
not
bar.
at the bar. I was having fish.
You were at the and I went up to him and I was like, hey, I asked a question at the Q&A. Can I buy you a beer? Can we have chat? Some shit. And then Frank says to me, you know what? I gotta go to a press event real quick. If you hang out, I'll be right. I'll probably come back right through 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah. I've lived this story before.
That happened to you. Happened to you 3 times this afternoon for me.
I guess the question is, why did you break my heart, Frank?
What was her name?
I'm back.
That's valid.
I'm back. What did you want to ask?
Will you have a beer with me?
He'll have a margarita.
Sure,
with you.
I'll meet you at Tin Fish in 15 minutes.
Fool me once.
I also asked a question last year at the panel, and I want to apologize for my smartassery in the question. I asked why Chief didn't have a jetpack in Halo 2 when he was stuck in the elevator. But my question this year is, like, me and all my friends are really big fans of the Forge in Halo, and I was wondering if you guys could release any information just on what we have to look forward to, because when Halo Reach came out, we had things like tweaking minor positions of the objects, and you can merge objects together. Is there anything like that we can look forward to in Halo 4 that you can talk about?
Yeah, we actually were recently down in Austin, Texas. Some of us from the studio were down there for the Rooster Teeth Expo, and we actually talked about Forge coming back. I guess we wanted to reiterate some of those points again. We have a lot of cool stuff planned for Forge.
We can talk quickly about a couple of them. The magnets have already been announced at Rooster Teeth, so it's an easy way to snap things back together. The ones we're most excited about are the player trait zones that let you create a volume any size you want, and then you can do whatever you want. So when a Spartan enters it, he can be less gravity, he can have an overshield, he can do more damage. So these things, I can't wait to see what you guys come up with creative-wise to like exploit these and do all sorts of amazing things and create new Forge maps and modes.
And we're working with our good friends down in Austin, Texas, Certain Affinity on the Forge support for Halo 4. I encourage you, if you want to, we put a video online actually of the presentation from Rooster Teeth Expo where we actually talked a little bit more in depth and actually show some of the stuff off in Forge and Halo 4.
I think another thing, and I'm probably like jumping on what Frankie's about to say, but we have an amazing engineer at 343 named Jacob that has revamped the lighting system for Forge, which is awesome. So basically now you're able to rapidly bake lights into the map in Forge so that you get a much more realistic looking lighting environment for your maps. And that makes a huge difference, I think, to the look of each of those maps and the believability. So that's something that we're really excited about as well.
All right.
Thanks for your question.
Thank you.
How much will the Xbox cost?
So the limited edition console bundle, which comes with a standard edition of the game, the 2 controllers, the 2 wireless controllers, a headset, the console itself, and some extra digital add-ons, is $399.99.
Yeah.
Thank you.
First off, Kiki, nice arm work for you.
Thank
for
you.
that. And Halo 2 is by far one of my favorite games by far. And I was just wondering, and like I love Easter eggs. And I know in Backwash and in Metropolis, there are two distinct Easter eggs. One outside and one on top of like a bridge, or like a crane building. Would there be any plans for like multiplayer Easter eggs like the one in Backwash, or like a new like super weapon? Yeah, Scarab gun.
There's no Scarab gun.
Yeah.
Don't worry, calm down. Don't get your knickers in a twist. There's plenty of other Easter eggs, just not that one.
Yeah, there will definitely be Easter eggs in both the single player campaign and in multiplayer for players to find.
And a big one in campaign we announced yesterday, or the day before, at the Fiction Panel, which was the return of terminals, which were going to be fully animated and give a deeper sort of exploration of the story and the universe.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
How you doing? Is the extras going to be the shoot? Now I'm blanking. The extended content that's going to be available, is that going to be included with the game? That's going to be free download?
Are you talking about the Spartan Ops?
Yeah.
So Spartan Ops is included in the package in Halo 4.
With both editions, the LE and the conventional edition
the
of
full
the game.
season.
And I kind of wanted your reaction. It'd just be like a one word. You don't have to tell me whether it's in or not, but armor lock. Discuss.
No.
No armor lock.
That was the fastest answer ever, I think.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey. With the war, with the Covenant being over, why do we still see elites and grunts running and gunning?
That's going to become pretty apparent pretty quickly in Halo 4 story. I want to point out that if you've never played a Halo game, Halo 4 will actually sort of encapsulate all of that information. You won't have to go back and play the other games. You don't have to read the novels, you don't have to see the comics, but the Covenant conflict and the current state of that conflict will be explained in the game. And if you are interested in the extended fiction, Karen Travis's novel Thursday War is going to continue that in October when that releases, and there's loads of other places to find out about that sort of slightly chaotic mess after the Human Covenant War. But it will all be fully self-contained within Halo 4. You don't have to go read all that fiction to understand it.
Thank you.
So real quick before we start this next question, I do have a quick kind of acknowledgement I want to make. We have some very special guests joining us today. In fact, a couple of them are going to have a signing at the Halo booth on the show floor. I was wondering if Mr. Steve Downs and Jen Taylor could stand up. And as I said, Steve and Jen are going to be doing a signing right after the panel today at the booth, at the Halo booth on the show floor. So if you get a chance to drop by, we also have one planned tomorrow at 9 a.m. That's early.
9 a.m.
Not for this crowd.
We'll be there.
They're up early.
So if you get a chance to drop by, and they'll be signing some goodies. We also have some other special guests as well. We have some of the actors from the Halo 4 Forward Unto Dawn. Frank, if you want to handle that.
We have Anisha and Osric, and who else do we have? We have Dan, who's our physical Master Chief in the piece. Do you guys want to stand and take a bow? Thank you. Did I miss anyone? Dan's the Master Chief. He actually doesn't even have to stand up.
Dan's just a horror to look at.
When you guys watch that series, you're going to fall in love with them the same way that we have.
Just like
They're
Frank
awesome
has.
bunch of guys.
All right, so got a question for you, my man.
So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about the loadouts, because from previous Halo games and stuff, one of the cool things was in multiplayer, everybody was pretty much starting out on the same level, where everybody was even, whereas in other games, like someone that's a level 70 has better weapons and abilities than someone that's like a level 1.
So actually one important thing that we are having as part of the loadout system to actually speak to your point there is for each map and mode, we're actually going to have a couple of pre-built loadouts. So maybe if you're just starting the game, you're going to have access to armor abilities and weapons that you wouldn't normally have access to. And part of that is actually to help balance out the experience, so you're not overwhelmed when you play it for the first time.
Yeah, I think in addition to that, we've been really careful to design, the weapons and abilities, well, specifically the weapons to fit into different categories in terms of engagement range and everything, and make sure that they're really well balanced against one another. And that's a philosophy that we've applied across the entire sandbox. And same thing with the abilities, make sure that no one ability is dominant over the others. And really the philosophy behind the loadout system was to enable player choice and customization based on play style, and really go back to that spirit of sandbox that's been at the core of Halo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I'm excited for the game, and I want to give special thanks for the people who are involved with Spartan Ops. I think the concept of it is just fabulous. And my question pertains to Spartan Ops and the whole career aspect. Something I loved about Halo 3 was there was a system that was involved that enabled players to unlock a certain armor set, and that was recon armor. And I was kind of disappointed to see that in Halo Reach, recon armor was just given to players instead of people who earned it was carried on to the next Halo game. So with Spartan Ops being involved with the more career aspect, will we have armor pieces or armor, whether it be any goodies that we can kind of carry on with us to the next game in the trilogy or throughout the trilogy for players to be involved with?
Who wants to take that one?
So I can jump in and just say, I think the specializations is part of a nod to that idea of allowing players to earn something that's exclusive and kind of that badge of honor that they can carry in the community and show how dedicated they are and the time that they put in. As far as being able to carry those things forward into future games, I don't think that that's something that we've even decided yet, and that's something that we'll, as we start to think about the next game. Right now we're so focused on Halo 4. When we start thinking about the next game, that's something that we'll definitely consider and think about.
Thank you guys. The Spartan Ops just like broadens that whole thing up. So I love the idea of Spartan Ops. Thank you guys.
Thank you. I think we're all really excited to have the player progression across both War Games and Spartan Ops. I think that's really going to open a lot of doors for a lot of people that we really want to invite, and we want to get them back in playing and keep them satisfied with what we're delivering. So thank you.
So I think we have time for one more question.
This will be the last question.
No pressure.
Since Halo 4 is a lot about what armor you have, can you give us any information on how we're going to unlock armor in War Games?
That's a pretty good question.
Absolutely. It doesn't only consider the amount of time you put into the multiplayer, but also your performance against others. So we've rebuilt the progression system from Reach. It's all new for Halo 4. And as Chris was just saying, it completely crosses over between both experiences. But you're not only earning armor, you're earning new weapons to unlock for your loadouts, you're earning new armor abilities. So there's a much deeper customization system. And if you've had a chance to check us out on the floor, there's tons of new armor in the build right now. People will come up and just start looking through it and it blows them away right away, and we can say there's tons more to come too.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and just to build on that, there's a difference in the way that we approach the different aspects of the progression system. So the things that are gameplay impacting, we have a system that incorporates Spartan points, which is something that you earn as you rank up each rank. And then we have the armor that you're earning. The cosmetic changes that are available to you are based on rank, but you're not making a choice basically between, do I want to buy this weapon or do I want to buy this armor? You're able to select the armor based on your progression alone. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Thank you.
All right, so on behalf of myself and everyone else on here, thanks once again for the 405th. Just amazing work. And thanks to everyone here for joining us today. And don't forget, we have a signing with Steve and Jen at our booth. So if you get a chance to drop by, thanks very much.